presentations and speeches to introduce our Hall of Fame 2019 class here. Hope everyone enjoyed their lunch. You guys can obviously continue to eat if you still got some stuff on your plate here. But we're going to go ahead and get started. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Chris Lewis up to the stand here, please.
Good afternoon. All right. So today I have the privilege of introducing my brother as he comes to accept his induction into the Hall of Fame. For those of you that don't know, Jeff and I, he's my older brother, and we had the opportunity, we're fortunate enough to play hockey here at Liberty for 3 years during our college time. I want to start with a trivia question. Can anyone name the best brother duo in the history of hockey? Best potatoes. No.
Gretzky.
Well, that's a smart guy. Kirk Handy. So, no hints needed. The Gretzky brothers. A lot of you might know one of them, and not so much the other. But these brothers finished their career with a total of 2,861 points, which is incredible in the NHL. The first brother finished with 2,857 of those points. You guys all know who he is, Wayne Gretzky. His brother finished with a career total of 4 points. Wow. So pretty impressive between the two of them. Wayne and Brent Gretzky, the highest total of two siblings ever. And since I didn't get the call, and I'm up here introducing my brother to be in this year's Hall of Fame, you can probably guess that I relate a lot closely with Brent, and my brother is the Wayne Gretzky in our family. So, what is it like to be the brother to Jeff? He's got a couple of little stories from our time, especially in college. I remember back to 1998, and I was a freshman here at Liberty, playing hockey with a few other guys in this room. And we were playing at UVA, and I scored my first collegiate hockey goal. UVA was a big rival. I still remember it pretty clearly. I was on the point, puck came up, and took a slap shot, and made its way to the net, volleyed through a screen, and perfectly placed, top shelf, right corner. I can still see that. So I'm pretty excited. Pretty proud of myself, celebrating with the team. I go back to the bench, and there's my brother, and what do you think he says to me? Great job, you know, attaboy. No, he tells me that my puck was going so slow when it went to the net that he could read on the side of it that said "Made in Canada." So, as you can imagine, my ego shrunk pretty quickly. Another time, I remember coming back after a semester, and I wasn't a great student, but I had a good semester. I had, I think, a 3.5. It was probably a 3.0. But for me, that was good, and came home and decided to show my parents, and lo and behold, here's Jeff. Boom, another 4.0. Pretty routine. And again, wind out of my sails. My ego was destroyed. So I guess you can say that growing up with Jeff, especially in college and here at Liberty, it was a big shadow. So I have a bit of a soft spot for Brent Gretzky, the Brent Gretzkys of the world, helping to follow in someone like that's footsteps. On a serious note, playing hockey here at Liberty alongside my brother was a super special time, some of the best years of my life. This was a time where my life and the direction of it was greatly impacted by so many people and coaches and players that I was surrounded by. And of course this great school and Liberty hockey particularly. And no one made a bigger impactor than my brother. I've been fortunate to be around Liberty for over 20 years now, as a player and a coach and even as a fan. And I think throughout these years, Liberty's had so many special young men come through and play hockey for this team and leave their mark, help grow the program. That being said, I think there's a very few specific number of guys that really did something special and raised the bar and impacted the team and the culture and everything that was going on here. I think as the 5th men's hockey player to be inducted to this Hall of Fame, Jeff's being recognized as one of those special guys. On the ice, Jeff could do a little bit of everything. He was a great goal scorer, an offensive weapon, very good defensively. We knew that we needed him to show up in the big games and really impact and be such a big part of our success. I think Jeff realistically could go play tonight against Slippery Rock for the guys, and even being an old guy, he was that kind of an athlete. But I think Jeff even had some toughness and grit. I remember a story, again, we were playing UVA, and they were a big rival of ours back in the day, and you know, Jeff's one of the leading scorers, but on this night, he chose to pick a fight, or he got into a fight, however it happened, with one of the tough guys, known around the league, tough guy there, and Jeff did his thing and got the better of him, and it was pretty exciting as a team. But I think, like, looking back, that's also a little bit crazy, right? You have this guy that we need to win, you know, one of your great players, he's out there picking a fight and doing his thing, and to be honest, it's probably a little bit selfish. If you really think about it, like, there's 9 or 10 guys on the team, guys like me that are on the bench that are just looking for a role, something we can do, and no, there's Jeff saying, no, I can do that. I think, I mean, it's a lot like Tom Brady throwing a touchdown, going to the sideline, and telling the kicker, hey, just stay on the bench. I'm going to go kick the extra point, because, I mean, I'm Tom Brady. But, yeah, all joking aside, Jeff was not just a great hockey player, he was a good student, he was an excellent leader, and a great teammate. He served as captain his final 2 years here at Liberty, where he led by example, and naturally people followed him. He also later became a coach here at Liberty, and did a great job of impacting and mentoring the next generation of Liberty hockey players. So to wrap things up, I've got to see this kind of firsthand, but Jeff has never really settled for being average at anything in his life. I've seen it firsthand again as he's kind of pursued greatness in everything he does. As an athlete, as a student, as a brother, now as a husband and a father, and professionally as a doctor and a teacher. I have great respect for him, and he's had a huge impact on my life. So I was incredibly fortunate to have had the chance to share my hockey journey and my experience here at Liberty, and now I'm honored to introduce him today as he accepts his induction into this Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Club Sports. Congratulations to the other inductees. I want to kind of quick special mention to the Stevensons for being here. Appreciate just the honor to be there, and obviously the people that are here to support you guys, and Sarah's legacy. Pretty special to be involved with that. I actually had the opportunity to know Sarah very well in my 4 years here, probably more than she would have liked. Working her through many of her injuries and different bumps and bruises, but very resilient, very powerful young lady, and so greatly missed, but man, had a big impact in her short life here, so thank you for that. As I kind of think about, man, 20 plus years of being around club sports, a lot that kind of comes to mind, but as I'm looking through it, kind of want to kind of reflect on just, man, God's path and kind of where he took me and many of the people in this room. Pretty special. A verse that comes to mind is Jeremiah 29:11, which says, "For I know you, the plans I have for you, declared the Lord, plans to prosper for you, not to harm you, plans to give you home and a future. I think that really kind of sums up my journey over this last 22 years. Crazy to think. As I look back and kind of think through, I remember my first recruiting trip. So I was all set to go to Canadian University, and Kirk, he's kind of filtered through a lot of my progress here over the last 20 years. He and coach at the time, Corrado Puglisi, got a hold of us somehow. I'm not sure who it was through, but actually I did talk more to Dad and kind of talked us into coming down. I really was kind of against it, actually. I was set to kind of stick in Canada, and Dad said, no, we're going. All right, so we loaded up the van, drove through the night, and we got here. I remember we got here in the middle of the early morning, and nothing's open, like Lynchburg, right? And so we hit the Waffle House. Now, it wasn't one of the nice Waffle Houses, but it was the oldest. I ain't here anymore on Lawrence Road. I think we got some food, and we actually changed in the Waffle House, really luxury restrooms, and you're ready to meet Coach and Kirk and take a tour of the campus. Again, it was kind of on guard. Kirk took me to some classes, and ironically, I don't know if it was staged, but literally every class he was in, he sat behind the prettiest girl in the class. So, 19-year-old college guy, hockey guy, I'm like, okay, I could maybe do this thing. But it didn't take long, 2.5 days on campus, and I'm like, man, this place is different. I need to be here. So as I kind of think through, Chris summed up a lot of my highlights. We didn't compare notes, by the way. Hockey came to mind. There was a lot of other things as I think back of, man, this is what Liberty kind of did for me. When it comes to the hockey, UVA was our big rival. Their program is not what it used to be. First game against UVA, first goal, and my first fight. Didn't have to do it too often though, thankfully. I met a lot of great friends, many that are in this room, and I'll give my specific thank yous here in a second. Got to play 3 seasons with Chris, which was a highlight. Being 2 years apart, we never actually played together growing up, other than in the backyard, road hockey, mini sticks, a lot of broken windows, a lot of dents in the freezer in the garage, but didn't actually play on the ice together, so that was a huge highlight for me. Going through college, had a lot of injuries, and one of those things, looking back on it, when maybe there are athletes in this room, when you get an injury, it's very depressing, very frustrating, but as I look back on it now, it's like, man, God had a reason for that, because I was actually introduced to a lot of very different therapies, doctors, specializations, and actually was introduced to chiropractic for the first time, and led to kind of the career that I'm in now, which is pretty cool. Again, not by accident. As I graduated, went on to grad school, had the opportunity to come back to Lynchburg, and Kirk came calling again. This time he says, hey, you want to come help coach? I'm like, all right, don't have a lot of experience, but we'll see what we can do. So I was able to have 7 years coaching alongside Kirk, Jeff Becker, and a few other folks. That's where I think, really that the time for me was very special. 2 years ago, got to present another of our college hockey players, Kyle Dodson. He was inducted from Huntsville, was a big highlight. Just being able to give back, like Kirk said, just this place is special, and being able to kind of really just mentor and work with folks and kind of appreciate where they're at as student athletes. 7 years of coaching went by, and God says, hey, I got another direction for you. So gave my whistle in, and actually started to do some teaching. But I knew that I wanted to be involved with student athletes. So other folks in this room, sports medicine staff, get to work along with them. A very, very, very big blessing. But as I kind of think back and just wrap things up when it came to club sports, God took this guy from Little Old Ontario, says, hey, I got a bigger picture for you. And the doors opened and took the game of hockey, but took it a lot farther. And I'm very, very grateful for that opportunity and just how club sport allowed that to kind of foster over those 20 years. Still a big fan of club sports, hockey fan. All right. Last night, by the way, thank you for the club sports staff. My daughter's not able to be here. She would tear this place apart. But last night she was able to come to the game. And so Leah especially and some of the other staff got to bring her down. she had a little bit of a difficulty because she met Sparky, but normally we don't see Sparky at the rink. We see Sparky at volleyball and at football. She's like, Daddy, Sparky looks a little different. Honey, this is hockey Sparky. So that was a highlight. She's able to tell everyone that, you know, I'm in the Hall of Fame. I don't think she really knows what that means, but she's very proud, and I'm proud of her. So, a few thank yous as I kind of wrap up here. A lot of people in this room that have had an impact on kind of my journey. First and foremost, my wife Nicole, just the support that she's been allowing me to pursue my dreams. She still reminds me to this day just how long the hockey season is. Okay? It's the longest season of all professional sports, but been there, great support, and continues to allow me to just kind of search and dream and pursue those opportunities that the Lord brings. My parents were able to be here. Just the support of them, just allowing me this opportunity. I remember for Canadians in the room, when we got that letter, the immigration letter that says, hey, you need to hit these check marks so you can cross the border and go to the U.S. I forget the dollar amount, but it was in the tens of thousands of dollars. And we had all our needs met, but I'm like, I don't think I had an appreciation at the time of what it would take to actually give that proof, but didn't waver. They took care of it, and so grateful for that opportunity. For my siblings are here, and their spouses, just how much hockey is part of our life. So Lisa and Clint, sorry when our family gatherings turn into hockey conversations. You guys don't give us too hard of a time. So, coaches, Corrado was not able to be here. He coached me for my first 2 years. Talked with him last night via text. Paul Bloomfield and Sharon, the impact of you guys, not only on myself and our family, but many others in this room. We're very, very grateful for your just the time and effort that you've devoted to our adventures. So thank you for that. And then especially Kurt, Andy, getting here. I know God had a hand in it, but just your willingness to follow this direction, your friendship, you and Janny, we'll never take that for granted. So thank you. Very honored. Club sports has meant a lot, and I look forward to continue to be involved with club sports and kind of hopefully impact the next crew as much as it's impacted me. So thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Jeff, and it's been an honor for me and all the other younger guys to get to know you and your brother and all those other guys that you played with too. So next to the stand, I'll invite Mike Zampano.
Hello. My name is Mike, and I currently coach here at Liberty for the lacrosse team. As a coach, I often like to take a lot of time to listen to myself talk, so you guys might experience that today. The one caveat is that I drink a lot of water, so maybe nature might take its course before you have to experience everything. I had, as much as I like to, sometimes as a coach, like I said, I do a lot of talking, and people in this room can attest to that. I had a hard time trying to prepare something for this, because when I try to characterize Kurt and I's relationship, and I think kind of one of my burdens here is trying to help you guys understand, or maybe convince you why this induction is important and why it even matters. But I had a hard time doing that, because the only way I think I can really help you understand it is to let you into our weird world. And when I was having this conversation last night with Kurt and Lindsay in their hotel room, and I came to this realization that was the case. And Kurt made the comment that, yeah, they'd probably have to go through a certain induction ceremony that we've coined over time, and it would just make this a very different environment. So we'll just go forward. And I really end up kind of narrowing down 3 main things that I think Kurt has impacted me in my life, that I think has given me kind of the context, and hopefully can give you the context of the kind of guy I think Kurt could be to anybody. But basically, my first one is Kurt is goofy, and I say that because I think the easiest way that I can describe that to you is I just have this image in my head of a video that I got sent one time. Kurt was at his sister's house down in Florida, and he was wearing a bathing suit. He was wearing a motorcycle helmet with an American flag on it, some cowboy boots, and he was doing a power clean. And the whole thing just kind of unraveled very quickly, and basically just kind of fell over. But if you got to see that video, I think you'd see a lot more of the goofy side of Kurt, which is something that I've always really appreciated, and I think it's always helps kind of lighten the mood in anything and everything that we're doing, and something I guess I was always somewhat drawn to. But I'll let him talk a little bit more about the goofy side. But I think the thing that I get from that is there's a verse in Luke 10. It says, "If anyone enters through, I am the door. If anyone enters through me, he will be saved, and he will come in and go out and find pasture. A thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come so that they may have life and have it in abundance." And to me, like the idea of abundant life has always been kind of like something out there that I think it's hard to really identify what abundant life is. I think when you think about that, like what that phrase could mean, it just seems kind of out of touch, out of reach, and I don't know if you could really clearly define it. I kind of was digging through one of my, just had kind of a quiet time, and I had some notes on my phone, and I found something that I'm going to close with, and hopefully it explains that a little bit more. But I think that kind of speaks to the goofy side, and just living in abundance. The second thing I think that Kurt's really influenced me in is the type of leader that I think Kurt is. Kurt's got this really uncanny ability to just like attract people to him for whatever reason. It's just kind of a personality trait, I guess. But I think there's a couple different types of leadership styles that I've recognized over time. I think two that are probably the most common is leading from the front of the pack, and another is leading from the back of the pack. And I think there's people that can lead really well alongside you. I think from our, the type of families that Kurt and I both came in, and I just say like this has been one of my favorite weekends. I feel blessed. Aside from my own family, I feel blessed about this weekend because of the people that just got to come in. Like, Tobias has been one of the most impactful group of people I've had in my life, and I don't know if I really want to spend my weekend with any other people than them and Kyle and some of the players that have been around, and that's just like that to me is I couldn't ask for any other group of people I want to spend time with. But I think the type of family that Kurt came from, we're a little bit different in the sense that I'm from a group of 7 kids. I have 5 younger brothers. So I was kind of always thrust into the light of like leading from the front. A lot of guys behind me that were just kind of looking to see what I was going to do. So I just kind of had to embrace that. Kurt had was the youngest of 6. So I think he, coming from a big family, you're kind of forced into situations where you have to learn how to deal with people. So it was a good. I find it as a blessing and as a good experience, and I would recommend it. Growing up in a big family, but I think you just naturally become a leader through just being a part of that. And but I think the thing that Kurt was always a little bit better on, that I've learned a lot from Kurt about, is leading with people next to you, leading alongside people. And I think it just spoke a lot to when a lot of the players that I was talking to, kind of leading up to this weekend, every one of them had some kind of personal connection, or personal story to tell that really connected Kurt back to the type of player he was. We were both 4-year captains on the team when we played, and I think that was just one of the big strengths that he brought, was just that level of leadership, and it was really cool. But one of I like quotes. I'm a big quote guy. My players could probably tell you that quite a bit. But one of the quotes I heard from a guy named Michael Hyatt. He's a business and a leadership executive, and he's a life coach. He said, the goal in leadership is not influence or perfection. The goal in leadership is authenticity. And the third one for me that I think I always recognize about Kurt, and that I think is probably one of the most essential things that I think has influences both his goofiness and his leadership is just how authentic he is. I wrote just a couple notes here that said, in natural life, one of the few constants is change. Change in job, change in location, family, friendship, opportunities, desires, goals, and we even change ourselves a lot. But I think so we are prone to change, and none of this is in theory bad. Change is not a bad thing. But when who you are doesn't change, and when your purpose doesn't change, some kind of supernatural occurrence takes shape, and I think that's where the door opens for authenticity. I think one of the things that I've been always been impressed by with Kurt is he's never changed. He's always been the same as who he is who he shows to be is what you're going to get, and I think that's what a lot of times keeps people coming back to connecting with him. I remember having a conversation. Our lives and our friendship has kind of changed in the last year or so. With him and Lindsay moving down to Florida, they were living here after they graduated, and then back in May they moved down to Destin, and so we've kind of, our friendship has kind of shifted in the sense that we're not hanging out and spending time together every day, but so it's a lot more distant. But I think one of the cool things that I've recognized is so that part of it has changed. That part of our relationship has changed. But I remember having a conversation over the phone, and we were just talking about the idea of what's important. And I think with the change, sometimes it causes you to reflect a little bit on what matters. And the thing that I've always seen about Kurt, but that he expressed so clearly in one of our conversations, is he basically just said, if we're not impacting people's lives, we're not bringing the light of Christ to people, then what are we doing? And it was just very simple and profound. But when he said that, it just kind of clicked with me that that's what Kurt's always been about. I think that has a lot to do with obviously I think the upbringing that he came from, but I think it's even from being a player early on. One of the first times I ever met him, you could see that there was just something different. And I think that's the type of authenticity that people are attracted to, and people relate to, and people want to ultimately follow and lead. So just ultimately those three things for me have been really transformational. And I guess if I'm going to characterize our relationship, I'll read that last kind of passage that I think again, this kind of came out of just a set of thoughts that I had over the course of the last couple of years, and considering the abundant life, the rich, full life. And I just wrote this, life is built on living bold, rich, and full experiences. Taking opportunities that are congruent with your bent, your passions, interests, and how you were crafted to engage in the rich life and the experiences of others around you. You may discover then that those who can authentically reciprocate those experiences with you are those that you can embrace deeper and more rich lives alongside. And I don't know if that I can sum it up any better than that's probably our Kurt and I's relationship in a nutshell. Aside from all the weirdness that takes place all in between, but I think I'm honored to be a part of this day. I'm just thrilled to just be a part of it, not just for this event here, but just to spend the whole weekend together and just enjoy celebrating a special occasion with them. So with that, I've got to pee, so
long speech, actually on the plane up here 2 nights ago, and I pretty much scratched all that because I felt like I was just telling a really long story that gave a good picture of what lacrosse is like, but at the end of it, I realized that's not really what I want everyone to remember, and the point of me being up here today is just being able to shine light on the way that God uses sports and our families and our friends to just really impact the lives around us. So first I just want to give a couple thank yous, obviously, to Mike. There's a handful of guys in my life today that I don't even call them friends. They're literally brothers to me, and it's just every time we get together, it is so special, and I'm just so refreshed. Like 3 months ago, 4 months ago, something like that, Z came down to Destin, and Lindsay and I had, we had moved down there, and there was not a whole lot of community that we were used to from Lynchburg, and so everything we went up to, like, oh, here's a little bit of water, and it was more desert. So Z coming down was just like so refreshing. He was the first one from Liberty to come down, and that's how Z's always been. He's the first one in line to just always step up to the plate and be the friend and brother that God designed him to be. A funny story about Z is, and I just wrote this while you were talking, but actually we have a probably 6-foot portrait in my parents' room, and Z looks like my oldest brother when he doesn't have a huge raccoon hanging off his chin. And he literally filled in for a family portrait that hangs over their bed. So I guess technically he kind of is a brother. So in many occasions we actually introduced him as my brother, and I just went along with it. Another thank you is for Kyle and Lauren, both of you guys. I know, Lauren, it's probably tough having Kyle come home and be frustrated over lacrosse and stuff like that. I can testify that. And it's, when Lindsay is supportive to me of me just rambling on about something that probably doesn't even make sense, having a strong supporter is a very crucial part of the marriage. So obviously I thank you for that. And Kyle, you came into a program that you probably never even pictured it to be where it is today. And last night I was honestly a little offended. You didn't even know like what years or me and Mike played together, but I'm not really worried about it. So thank you to both of you. Again, just continuing to push those years, and just we're just seeing the reaping effect of what you guys have put in over the years. So thank you for that, and I also want to thank the other coaches, which I don't think I saw any of them here. Any of the volunteers for the lacrosse program. I want to thank Liberty Club Sports, all the staff. Really over the years it's been super special just to, Club Sports kind of became family. Z and Kyle helped me get a job at Club Sports for a while. I was up at Snowflex, and I was helping at concessions, and last night honestly almost made me want to cry just because of how much I didn't like frying chicken every night after the hockey games. But those things really do shape you, and I think that it's important for people to do things like that because it makes you appreciate those type of jobs, and it keeps pushing you to want to achieve your goals and where you feel called to live. I want to thank Lindsay, my wife, my family, for all the years. Lindsay did not know me when I played lacrosse. Kind of piggybacking off of Jeff's story of just how special Liberty is, and just how weird things end up working in our favor in the end. And I never really seen the big picture of what God has in store, but I actually, I probably fall under alignment of where you were saying is that my grades were lacking usually, and so I was actually a year over, and I had just ended a relationship with a girl that I was dating, and So I was like, I will not speak to any girls. I got to focus on my career. It's time to straighten out my life. And most of the lacrosse guys, I was still very involved in the team. I actually coached for a semester, maybe part of the second semester. And all these guys keep coming to me, like, and I don't know why they're coming to me. It really didn't make sense. Like, man, you got to see this girl. Like, this girl just transferred in from UNC Wilmington, and she plays volleyball. And like, I think like 5 different people came up and told me about her, and I was like, I really don't care. Like I don't understand why you're telling me. Like, if you're so interested, go talk to her. And so I had seen her briefly. I thought it was her, and then I saw her again, and then the next morning I woke up and I was like, wow, I feel like I really need to talk to this girl. Which I don't know why. But anyways, fast forward, we met through mutual friends, and 2 weeks later we were married. I'm just kidding, but it was pretty fast. It wasn't 2 weeks. And lastly, I want to thank my parents, mom, dad, hold together, and I'm gonna cry. No, seriously, like when I look back, I don't remember half the games I've played, but I just think of like in my mind, I'm like, there's no way I would take a kid to practice every day of the week and to games that were in different states over the weekend, and not only that, not your time, but I just look at the money and I'm like, there's just no way. Like, unless this kid's going to the Olympics, there's just so yeah, I thank you to both of you for paying all the money and spending all your time taking all 6 of your children to different sporting events, which is pretty amazing in itself. I think they would just drop us off and then just pick us up like the next week. I don't really know how that works. Talk a little bit about the program history here. Like I mentioned, Liberty Lacrosse was really nothing when it started. I actually came here, I'd given up lacrosse when I decided to go to Liberty. I think it was a month before school actually started. Last minute, we pulled out where I was going to go, which was down in Florida. And since 4 of my other siblings had gone here, I was like, well, this is where it's going to be. And so I showed up. I met Mike. I don't think we were friends after that, which is kind of good that it ended up this way. But he was like, hey, you play lacrosse? Let's try out in 2-3 weeks, something like that. I had showed up, and frankly, I was just appalled at the talent and what was happening on the field, because it was not lacrosse. And I came from a very, very successful program. The Northeast it's hockey in Canada. That's what it is for lacrosse there. So everyone grows up with a stick and everyone plays, but I guess down here in the dirty South, they don't know how to play. So anyways, that evolved very fast. Within, well, let me back up a little bit. Year 1, our first game was held on some field. I don't know what field it was, but I distinctly remember a referee like backtracking and tripping over the line that was supposed to be painted, but we just had tape everywhere stapled into the ground. So if you've seen the facilities now, it is evolved quite a bit. So, but that's all to do with the players, current, past, and the coaching staff for just really not taking no for an answer and demanding the respect that they deserve. So, and just to highlight one last thing about lacrosse here, it was always so much fun to just go out there and play and enjoy that. But really, the biggest thing that I take pride in now is I look back and I'm like, our team really was the Trailblazers. Like my senior class graduating, I look back at our picture that we all have quite often actually, and it's kind of weird. I don't get really like super sentimental about the lacrosse itself, but I get sentimental about the brothers that were on the team there, and I just look at that and it really blows my mind, because I'm like, wow, we really did, we were the Trailblazers for the program. And so out of all this, I said that's the only thing that I take pride in, of being a part of that, being a small piece of the puzzle of that. And I just want to talk a little bit about how Liberty shaped me. Again, like going out there, padding up, lacing up was always fun and was enjoyable. It was fun to play. My biggest joy was to play for mom and dad and for the family, and always feeling pressure from my mother of having to score points. So I think she knew exactly how many points I had in every season, and I didn't even know. But I can say here today, and probably didn't realize this as much when I was a player, but I know for a fact it's not about the goals, it's not about the practice, it's not about even the teams you play on. So it's about the souls that you're playing with out there. And I wish earlier on in my career of lacrosse I would have recognized that, because Z hit the nail on the head there. That's really all it's about, and that's just a great platform to reach out to the community that revolves themselves around athletics. And I love being a part of a school that reinforces that foundation on Christ, just to be able to play sports and enjoy those things of life. So that's what I love, just the takeaways of the lifelong friendships. Again, that there's people I don't even call friends anymore, they're just family now. So that was, and again, Liberty is just a blur to me. It was so much fun, grew so much. So that's kind of Liberty in a nutshell. I feel like I was beating around the bush there. I want to close out with a fun fact about my mother and a fun story about her. I did the math on the plane ride up here, and I believe that I made about $4,000 between goals and assists. And the going rate would fluctuate based on the ranking of the team. And even sometimes, if I don't know what it was, maybe you're just a little excited, but she would come up and for a goal, it would usually, the going rate was about $20, and then an assist was usually about $10. So there was games where I walked away with a nice stack of cash. So I think it's safe to say that she really cared about me scoring goals. And then probably my all-time favorite story of Mom was one of our very first scrimmages of sophomore year. This is a scrimmage. There's literally there's no significance to it. We're playing VMI or someone that is not a good team. And so it's very cold, and within the first minute of the game, someone pushed me behind, and instead of just falling, I think I tried to do some heroic throw while I was falling, and I laid on my shoulder. I was like, that didn't feel good. So instead of me going to the sideline, I continued to play again, and I caught the ball. I went to go throw it. My whole arm just literally fell out of place, and I looked at it and I jogged over the sideline. I was like, felt under there. I was like, oh yeah, that's broken. So immediately, I don't know why this was my first thought, so I said, hey, someone give me a phone. So I called Mom right away, because always running a little late. I said, hey, I just broke my shoulder, and she did her very loud, what? And she's like, are you sure, and are you okay? It was, are you sure you can't keep playing? We're almost to the field. So I was like, no, I wasn't calling you to pull me back up again. I'm going to the hospital. And of course, for anyone that knows my actual brother, he was on the side. He was the only one there. And I think he stayed the whole game. He didn't even know I got hurt. So he's in La La Land. I think he was just talking to some random people. And anyway, so a lot of memories, a lot of funny stories, and just super blessed to be a part of this induction. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Kurt. That's a good strategy, Mom. Good job. I gotta talk to my parents about that one. All right, next up to the stage, I'll invite Tiffany Camino, please. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm here to present this honor of Liberty's Club Gymnastics team, Rachel Harrison. So gymnastics consists of 4 events, all geared to challenge your mind and your body. Hope you love it. When we graduate from high school, if you don't go on to compete in college or become an elite gymnast, there was no other next step. Club gymnastics has become that next step for many, serving as an opportunity for levels of collegiate and adult gymnasts to compete on a local, regional, and national level. When Rachel came to Liberty as a freshman, there was no club gymnastics team. She wanted to make others aware of the sport that she loves. So she did the research, she used her resources at a local gym here in Lynchburg, and she built the club gymnastics team here. Her motivation and hard work is why we're here honoring her today. In 2008, Rachel built the team. In 2010, 6 athletes, including herself, qualified for the Nationals and represented Liberty University against 100 other schools. In 2012, despite the craziness of breaking her hand in warm-ups at Nationals, as the captain, her enthusiasm helped motivate the team to a 15th place finish out of 58 schools. In the 2012-2013 competition year, Rachel's hard work was rewarded. She became Liberty's club gymnastics head coach. Rachel drove her team to success with the slogan, "Adapt and Overcome." She qualified 11 athletes to nationals that year with a 13th place finish, the highest national achievement the club had made thus far. Throughout her years as an athlete, Rachel's dedication to push herself to be the best that she could be took Liberty to nationals each year and brought back countless awards. As a coach, she's taught resilience to all her athletes and built a personal relationship with each one. Selfless, committed, unfailing, visionary, timeless, and warrior were all words used to describe Rachel when I spoke with her past teammates, athletes, and coaches. Her willingness to give back to others is why this team is still thriving to this day. I am blessed to have been led by you, Rachel, as my captain, nurtured by you as my coach, and inspired by you as my friend. So thank you for building this community here at Liberty for us lovers of gymnastics.
Hello, everyone. Tiffany, thank you so much for your heartfelt introduction. And thank you, Liberty University, for this honor. I feel incredibly grateful to have had the opportunity to attend Liberty, to compete for my 4 years here, and then, as Tiffany mentioned, to transition into a coaching role here at Liberty. So today, I would just like to share a little bit of my story with you guys, if that's okay. So when I was about 1.5 years old, my parents found me walking across the top of their swing set. So I was their first kid, and to them this was completely normal. Like, all kids walk across the top. And then they had some friends over, and those friends witnessed that and said, this is probably not really normal for an 18-month kid to just be walking across the top. So they enrolled me in gymnastics, and honestly, I never looked back. I spent my life in the gym, training, working, building relationships, learning how to flip, but most importantly, learning how to live. As a lot of you guys have mentioned, sports are just really good at teaching you life lessons that you carry with you. So fast forward to high school, my biggest goal was to compete collegiate gymnastics. So I had the opportunity at several schools to do this, but for some reason I turned them down and I ended up at Liberty. So in hindsight, I can see the Lord's handiwork during this time, I really can. But at the moment, it was very challenging. I was out of college, didn't have any friends, and I didn't have the thing that really was the most important to me. So after going through a few weeks of crying and having personal pity parties every once in a while, calling my mom, begging her to come pick me up, take me home. I wasn't going to do it. I decided it wouldn't hurt to see if there was any interest in starting a gymnastics team here. So, after convocation one day, I actually approached Jerry Falwell Jr. Just asked him, hey, can we start a gymnastics team? And wasn't really expecting his excitement and just overwhelming yes. He gave me his personal contact information, which was pretty cool. I think I still have the business card with his info on it. And he said, just send me an email and we'll get it going. So that was just really a testament to his character and just the things that Liberty are about. So I partnered up with the owner of a local gym here in Lynchburg. And long story short, we got the team up and running. I got the chance to compete for Liberty for my 4 years here. And then I had the opportunity to coach the team after graduation for 3 years. So I won't bore you with all the details of that time, but the takeaway for me during those 7 years was that the Lord plants dreams in our hearts for a reason. And when we really lean in and trust in His goodness, instead of trying to navigate the way on our own, He provides an answer that is far beyond what maybe our human mind imagined originally. So, my life has drastically changed since my time competing and coaching gymnastics. I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm a nutritionist, a business owner, and although I still have a trampoline in my backyard, of course, I always will, I don't spend much time flipping around. But what I do carry with me every day are the relationships that gymnastics has allowed me to build and the personal characteristics that competing in such a unique and vigorous sport drove me to learn. So I'd first like to thank the Lord, not just for blessing me with this sport and this honor, but for His faithful guidance and grace that He constantly has shown me throughout this journey. I'd also like to thank my husband Sterling for his unending support and overwhelming patience. I know I make that difficult at times, and he's just right there to support me. I'd also like to thank my kids, Micah and Grace. They're not here today, but they're just my constant reminders of the goodness of the Lord. I'd also like to thank my parents, Jim and Kathy. They're also not here today. They're watching our kids, so thank you to them. My brother Matthew, my sister Jenny, for the countless hours that they spent in the gym and all the sacrifices that they made. I know a lot of people have talked about the sacrifices that their parents have made, but I think my poor brother will be scarred forever, having to just eat hot dogs at 8-hour-long gymnastics competitions for years and years. So really a big deal, the sacrifices that are made to support athletes. I'd like to thank my coaches, my teammates, my forever friends. Without them, gymnastics would be impossible, and definitely not nearly as fun and enjoyable. Finally, I'd like to say thank you to the club sports staff and everyone at Liberty for, first of all, just being open to the idea of a gymnastics team that has never existed prior to this, and for getting behind us with such enthusiasm right from the start. I remember the first interest meeting that we held. There was over 20 people that showed up, which was very surprising. And the club sports staff were just so excited about this opportunity right from the beginning. So that was a blessing. Again, I'm so grateful and honored to be here this day. Thank you, Lord.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rachel and Tiffany, for those kind words. And now, without further ado, I'd like to invite Maddie Pennell up to the stage.
Thanks, Beth. I have my tissue in case you get at it. I had to write it all down, because with a girl like Sarah, you can get pretty sidetracked and go on forever. First of all, congratulations to our other inductees, to Jeff, Rachel, Kurt. Each of you are a great example of this exceptional athletic program. Thank you to Ben Hughes, Kurt Handy, the entire club sports staff, and this university for for actually putting on this amazing event this weekend. And finally, thank you to Ian and Jan Stevenson. Thank you for raising such an incredible daughter that blessed those who knew her. We will cherish every moment spent with her. Good afternoon, I'm Madison Pinnell, and I am very blessed to have not only spent 4 years as a teammate with Sarah Stevenson, but also to be one of her roommates and one of her closest friends. I am truly honored to speak here today on behalf of her teammates, her friends, and her family. After hearing the news of Sarah's passing, the entire team wanted to do something special. Each of them wrote letters, tributes, and memories we compiled into a photo book to give to her family. I turned to their words for inspiration in order to capture the impact she made on so many of our lives. Sarah Stevenson, or Stevie as we called her, even though she hated it. She was the athlete that you needed on your team. She was one of a kind. She was the type of player that you wanted on your line that consistently battled. The player that you wanted to have in the dressing room that led by example. Year in and year out, Sarah quietly delivered each one of those qualities. Her results, work ethic, and success spoke very loudly, even though she often didn't have to speak at all. As a silent leader, a committed teacher, and respected by all, when Sarah spoke, everyone stopped to listen. Her presence brought a confidence that was deeply admired. Her genuine attributes quickly made her a role model, and she held everyone to a higher standard throughout her attitude and her actions. Our beloved number 11 was a purpose-driven, spirit-filled athlete whose true love of this game, spirit-filled athlete with a true love of this game, but her soft and calm presence brought reassurance, and she could be counted on in any situation. Her talents and passion ignited the flame for our team, and year after year, she just increased the heat. The camaraderie and sisterhood ran as deep as the fire in our hearts and the ice in our veins. With her help, our team continued to become more successful, attending the national tournament every year and eventually clinching the national title. However, the success, the wins, and yes, even the national titles are great measures of success, but the banners only tell half the story. Clemson head football coach Dabo Sweeney says, "Let the light that shines in you be brighter than the light that shines on you." Stevie's qualities brightly shone from within. However, the light still followed her around, but not because she demanded the spotlight, but because her light within captured everyone around her. While she shone in points and playmaking on the ice, Sarah's personality off the ice had a greater impact, more than she could have ever imagined. Known for her immaculate closet, talent for making all things and people beautiful, Sarah continuously showed her selflessness by dressing everyone in her clothes. She'd even take something off that she was already wearing if she thought it looked better on you, and like made your outfit total and complete. She'd perfect your eyebrows, do your hair and makeup, and she even got me out of my daily Wranglers, cowboy boots, and ball caps, rolling her eyes at me and saying, "Tilda, you're not on the farm anymore." In addition to loving everyone through her generosity of her clothing, her love shone through her servant's heart. From giving freshman rides to getting to know each and every one of the girls personally, Sarah was always able to listen, to take you for coffee, lots of shopping, ice cream, or a drive, singing Justin Bieber at the top of her lungs in her Volvo Val. She knew that sometimes all you needed is for one person to believe in you, in order to believe in yourself. She took her role as big sister, mentor, and encourager very seriously. She loved so fiercely, and we are all so, so privileged to have had the chance to be on the receiving end of her heart. Sam, Steph, Sarah, and I lived at 300 College Park, the hockey house, and we were Ohana. Ohana means family, and family means that no one gets left behind. Our little Ohana traveled to many beaches, concerts, cities, getaways, families. We hosted countless Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving, and birthday celebrations. We talked of the future and how we would remain in each other's lives, be in each other's weddings, and our kids would call each other auntie. We even had planned on going on a trip together for our 25th, and every few years after that. In addition to her schoolwork, her homework, her hockey, her boyfriend, and her Ohana, she also somehow found time to become so close with each and every one of the girls on her team. Stacy's cuddle buddy on road trips, being witty goofballs with Court and the Amy's, embarking on an amazing faith journey with Chantel. Hugs, laughs, and hockey passion shared with Nikki. Never missing a beat with Katie, encouragement and advice for Carrie, inspiring a young Nicole, and being titled as their senior by all of the rookies. Not one person felt like they were not closely connected with Sarah. I bet that at the beginning of her time here at Liberty, she would not have even known what a servant's heart that she had. I can imagine her listening to us today, blown away by the stories that she had and the stories and impact that she had on everyone. But God knew. Ephesians 2:10 reads, "For we are God's workmanship, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do." Our great big God had plans for our Sarah. He knew that her heart would be changed here, that she would come to know him and accept him as her Savior and continue to shine brighter. I think we all knew, and it's fair to say, Sarah was way too good to play for us. But I am so thankful for our God, and that Sarah's path led her here to Liberty, led her to us, and ultimately led her to Christ. It is because of these decisions that we can rest in God's promise of eternity, trusting that we will get to see our friend again. Our time on earth is so short compared to eternity in heaven. Sarah was a walking testimony and would continually remind us to appreciate every moment, to live it up, because one day we would look back and want to relive every moment. And boy, was she right. Currently, Sarah is still third in all-time place scoring. Through her 4 years, she scored 55 goals and 109 assists. These numbers again show Sarah's true playmaker colors. She also, in her senior year, Sarah was selected for the All-American team at the National Championship. She also won the award for Top Forward of the Year in 2012 and 2015. In Sarah's honor, the team has renamed the award the Sarah Stevenson Award. We actually had a plaque created to send home with Jan and Ian today. After graduating with a degree in criminal justice and a minor in psychology, Sarah was pursuing a career in law enforcement in Ontario. Shortly after, she became the ACHA's first player to be drafted by the Canadian Women's Hockey League. She continued to be a trailblazer and prove herself as she was selected 17th overall. In a video interview that I just watched the other night, and it was amazing to hear her voice, Sarah herself said, "I think my time at Liberty shaped me, prepared me mentally. If you work hard and believe in yourself, no one can stop you." So Sarah, thank you. Your shining smile and contagious laugh is forever ingrained on my heart. Your character and success will carry on through teams to come. I will forever share your legacy, and the number 11 will always remind me of you. This afternoon, we honor Sarah Stevenson with her many contributions to the advancement of Liberty hockey and women's hockey with her induction into this Hall of Fame. Please join me in welcoming Sarah's parents, Jan and Ian Stevenson.
Madison is high tech there, and I'm going to low tech here. Thank you very much, everyone. First of all, Madison, lovely speech. So certainly on behalf of Janet, myself, and her son Andrew, who couldn't be here today, I'd like to thank Club Sports and the selection committee, Liberty University, for nominating Sarah. I'd also like to congratulate Jeff, Kurt, and Rachel on their awards and commitment to Liberty University. It's hard to know where to start. Sarah loved the game of ice hockey, having first seen her brother play, and then taking up for about a year, which way back in the 90s was pretty well more popular than women's hockey. But at the age of 6, Sarah said, I really want to play hockey like my brother, and she got involved in the Aurora Panthers organization, which was just north of Toronto. Sarah was blessed with being a great skater, but more so being a team player. She always put the team ahead of herself and was counted on coaches to follow instructions and play her part as directed. No one loved hockey more than Sarah. I'd like to thank Paul and Scott Bloomfield for making the effort to come up one day to Markham, Ontario to see Sarah and provide her an opportunity. When we first heard the name Liberty University, Jen and I thought, where's that? And when we heard Lynchburg, we said, where's that? It wasn't until we came down in the spring of 2011 for CFA, which I just learned recently is college for a weekend, that we discovered what a lovely place it was. While walking around the campus, we just found the university had a really nice vibe about it, and the kids seemed so polite and friendly. We knew Liberty was a Christian university, and that thought this could be ideal for Sarah, who was a little on the wild side, and could use guidance along the way. We truly believe the 4 years at Liberty were the happiest years of her life, for not only did she love to play the game of hockey, but she met so many wonderful friends, on and off the ice, whether they were affiliated with the game or not. Like many first-year students, she had a hard time adapting to university life, being so far from home, but had the support of more senior players like Stacy, Laura, and Courtney, who did their best to support her and many other freshman girls at the time. Over time, things got easier as she got more familiarized with the school, Christianity, and the city of Lynchburg. I think playing a sport and going on many road trips really helped her settle in and meet friends. She also came to realize that other girls had traveled even further than her from the likes of Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta, and Marathon, Ontario. Janet and I certainly have fond memories of those first couple of years, certainly going on road trips and everything like that, which was really quaint, was back then the girls' team had a really, really small touring bus. It was so cute to see the 18 girls get shoved into the bus with the 2 coaches and then all the hockey gear in the very back. And it kind of reminded me, for anyone who saw the movie Dumber and Dumber 2, it was a really small school bus. Well, the Liberty one was a little bit bigger than that. Another vivid memory we have is at the start of second year, we said to Coach Paul, hey Paul, can you try to find Sarah a used car? So on the first day we turn up, Paul shows up with this beautiful Volvo. Well, Janet and I have been Dodge drivers our whole life. Janet the Caravan, and maybe what did I have here? I had a Neon and a Shadow. and yes, Sarah never wanted to be seen in my car. It was just unbelievable, but what a memory for Sarah, and what a great car, so thanks for getting that car. Sarah's junior and senior years were extra special, as she became a leader, having learned from those that led her. Younger players were now looking at her and others in the class of 2011. These years were also very special because she got to share her house with her teammates, Samantha, Stephanie, and Madison. Over these couple of years, I can't detail what went on, but I understood there were a lot of happy times to go along with the day-to-day challenges life brings. The girls' team also shared a special support with the D1 men's hockey team, as many of those players came from Canada, and would be remiss not to say how important Riley Egan was to Sarah during those years. While Sarah loved hockey and other sports in general,
She was also very girly. We loved shopping, clothes, tanning, and cooking. She took great pride, as Madison said, in making sure everyone on our team looked good, whether performing makeovers or lending out clothes. She also enjoyed her school program and everything it had to offer, graduating with a criminal justice degree. Getting back to the women's hockey team, it was amazing to see how the program grew over 4 years, but it wasn't easy along the way, as there were highs and lows, including a national championship loss, a final loss in their sophomore year, and a semifinal loss in their junior year. Perhaps these experiences were needed to make the 14-15 team stronger and more resilient than ever, especially for the girls of 2011, Amanda, Autumn, Madison, Nikki, Chantel, Samantha, and Stephanie. For 2012, because that's when Kat came on board. Who's here today, so thank you, Kat. When they finally captured the first ACHA's, as far as I know, the school's first ACHA championship ever in any sport. Since then, the women's team has gone on to win 2 more championships under Chris Lowe's, which is fabulous, and really speaks to the how the program has grown and the fact that Liberty is a true force. I'd like to thank all the coaches, so certainly Paul Bloomfield, his assistants along the way, Josh, Justin, Jonathan, Kaylee. If I missed any others, I'm sorry, who worked with Sarah. I'd also like to thank the training staff. I believe there were 2 Amy's, Angie, Cordell, who cared for her. To Sarah's teammates, she couldn't have had a better group over the 4 years. Again, following Sarah's sudden death, as Madison said, they put a lovely book together summarizing their thoughts of Sarah, which was certainly beautiful and heartwarming. We're very happy that Sarah had as big an impact on your lives as you did on hers. Sarah would also be very happy to know that she's going into the hall with her fellow teammate Stacy. They were the perfect pair. Stacy was a goal scorer and Sarah liked to assist. In closing, we'll never understand why Sarah passed away at such a young age. We can only presume the Lord had bigger plans for her. Until we meet again, Sarah, I hope you're watching from above and smiling ear to ear. Thank you. Thank you.
As we close out, a song came to my heart today, and it's, I grew up in the 80s, so some of those old school songs are still coming into my head. I realized it wasn't just for me, it was a proclamation for our inductees and for each of your families today. And it's, the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness, O Lord God. So that's a proclamation for you guys. Bless you. As I pray, there's a scripture I'm going to read, and it's from Psalms. Let's bow and pray. Lord, my prayer for each one of our inductees, their families, Father, is this, and it's from Psalms, Lord, King David wrote. He goes, "One thing I ask from the Lord, this only do I seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to gaze on the beauty of the Lord, and to seek him in his temple. For in the day of trouble, he will keep me safe in his dwelling. He will hide me in the shelter of a sacred tent, and set me high upon a rock." God, you are King of kings and Lord of lords, and we praise you. Today is a celebration of who you are in each inductees' lives and their families, for Jeff, Kurt, Rachel, Sarah, and her family. Lord, you've made a huge difference. You've given them life and light, and we proclaim your goodness there. And we thank you for who they are and that they answer the call to be all that you've put on their hearts to be. And so just continue to bless. Continue to bring your favor, Lord, and just draw them into your presence, just as King David prayed. Lord, we commit our day to you. We love you. We thank you for this time to celebrate. In Jesus' name, amen. As we close out, we want to get some photos of everybody together. We're going to do that now. We can mingle, hang out, chat. But thank you. It's been a blessing and a privilege.